The Radio Forest Podcast.
Hello.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going, man?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great, dude.
All right. Good. Good, good, good.
I know you got a wedding anniversary coming up, right? You guys got anything special planned?
We're going to go back to where we did our honeymoon, basically.
I was
So,
actually talking to Brett Michaels not that long ago. He said he had such a blast at your wedding. He was like, we were cutting up and laughing like old times. It was like nothing
yeah.
had passed at all. The bond that you guys have had forever.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I think I have some funny photos of him too. Uh, I won't do that to him though.
You got to let him out at some point, though.
At some point.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'd been saying on the radio here that Brett had said that you guys are getting back together in 2026 for Poison. Like everybody put their hands in and said yes. Can I keep saying that on the radio? Is that still kind of,
That's the plan. I know there's a few negotiations that have to be worked out, but as far as I know, it will be 40 shows, 40 years,
yeah.
2026. So hopefully everything comes together as planned.
Now you've got four different guys in four different areas. Is it hard to get back together? I mean, you did the stadium tour. That seemed like it was pretty easy and not a lot of bumps in the road on our end. Maybe behind the scenes it was harder. Is it easy to get back together after all these years?
No, I mean, Cece, Brett and I are in the state of California. Bobby's in Florida. So it's not that big of a deal,
Yeah,
really.
not too bad. Right
Yeah.
on.
I mean, Rockett Mafia is just as much of a thing. I got Brandon in Iowa, and
Yeah.
I got Brian and Mick here. So,
Tell me about Rockett Mafia then. And to start with, how long have you known the Bullet Boys? How long is that?
I was never friends with Mick up until this happened. I mean, I had met him, of course. Bullet Boys opened for us years ago. But we never like became friends or anything like that. It was friendly hellos and all that stuff. But so Rocket Mafia literally is 1 year old today.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Yeah.
Let me explain. Okay. So today's the first day of sponsorship for the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And it was on that day a year ago that the guys asked me, "Hey, what do you think about entertainment this year?" And I said, "Oh, that's a great idea." And they said, "Yeah,
We want we
yeah." And
want
I
you to
went,
do.
"Oh, okay. What do you think?"
Yeah.
So I put something together really quick, and the way I could do it really quickly was I just asked the guys in Chevy Metal because I had filled in Kenny Aronoff and I had filled in for a couple of their shows, and I said, "Look, I need to put a band together really quick, and I'll bring in a singer. Wiley doesn't need to learn anything." And so I brought in Brandon Gibbs. So after the show, it was like we did all these cover songs. We had a great time. And Brandon says, "I don't want to just not do this again. Like, this is a great idea." And I said, "I think so." And I called my manager and I said, "We just did a really fun thing." And he goes, "I heard about it." And we just decided we were going to go off and start doing this. Well, of course, I can't leave well enough alone. And before you know it, it's an actual band, not
Yeah.
just an idea of me putting guys together and doing covers. Now it's, now Mick's involved and all this kind of stuff. So, we started to reimagine covers instead of just picking the normal rock fare that a lot of people do. We started to pick things that were different. And some of those things are going to be deep cuts from Poison that you never hear Poison play.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a cool thing to do. So everybody seems to be responding to that pretty well. So you're going to hear a lot of that too.
Is there going to be, or has there been, or have you guys played some but not recorded it? You got to cover the Beatles, right? Surely you will.
You know what? We thought about that too. That's tough because when you do Beatles, you better do a really good job because people will be like, it doesn't matter who remakes the Beatles,
True.
it sucks. You know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I
No, I get it. Yeah.
mean? It's one of those, it's tough. It's just, like you don't remake, you do a Zeppelin cover, but you don't remake a Zeppelin song. You know what I mean? So Beatles, it's tough. It's a tough one, but we do a Paul McCartney song. We do Jet.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So no one's given us any guff for that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. How have you not though run across Ringo, right? Is that accurate? I've heard that you haven't actually met him yet, and you're a pretty big Beatles fan, right? That's what I'm getting at behind the scenes is Ricky's a huge Beatles fan, but have you not
Sure.
crossed paths with Ringo?
I have not crossed paths with Ringo. Look at this.
Oh, there you go. That's
This
awesome.
was given to me by Chips Enough, by the way.
Oh, no way. From Enough's
Yeah.
Enough, yeah.
Um,
Any close
no, I
calls to
don't.
meeting him or anything?
Yes, very close call. So when I was with Drum Workshop, he was coming out to the factory, and John Good said he's going to come out to the factory, and I said, "Can I come out?" And he goes, "Well, I don't want to overwhelm him." I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, how about if we do a white snare drum and he signs it for me? That's all I want." John said, "Okay." So we built this white snare drum, and he goes, called me up, and he goes, "You know what?" I asked, and he said, "It's okay if you come out."
Whoa.
So I got all excited. He didn't do it.
Oh,
He got sick, or his wife got sick. Something
sure. Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
and he wound up not doing that visit. And I was like, it didn't work. So there's been three different times actually, and I've just been bummed every time. So I was talking to Greg Bissonette the other day, and I don't think Greg realizes how much I want to do that, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Maybe it'll work out. If it isn't meant to be, it's not meant to be.
So you've got the I Think I Love You cover. You said you're going to do some deep cuts from Poison. What else are we
So.
going to hear from your band? What else you got going on or cooking or what's going to come out?
Well, I don't want to give away the farm, but like we are doing Jet, we are doing a couple standard like rock and roll hoochie coo, a couple things that I've just always wanted to cover.
Yeah.
And some bands do and most don't, but and we keep changing it. We keep changing our minds, you know what I mean? I always say we don't make mistakes, we just change our minds a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What live did Poison pull out a bunch of covers? I mean, I've seen you guys a couple of times. Nothing stands out in my head. Do you have the
No.
flexibility in the band to pull out something? You've got so many songs that you
Poison?
have to play. Yeah, with Poison, I mean.
Not, no, I mean, no, with Poison, yeah, you're right. There's a lot we have to play.
Sure, yeah.
Fans aren't going to let us get away with not playing the hits. And
Yeah.
that's the conundrum. A lot of times we say, "Oh, let's bust out this deeper cut because it would be really fun to play." And then we do it for a few days and then we'll start hearing like, "Oh, why didn't you play a hit? Why
Yeah.
didn't you play Cry
Yeah.
Tough or whatever?"
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a tough one. You have to play 2 hours to start fitting all that stuff in. And like
Yeah.
on the stadium tour, we couldn't do that, obviously.
Oh, you got to play the hits. You got to get the average fan, and then the mega fans. Like, it's got to be good enough for you, man. I can't play every song that you want. You got to
No,
make
but
everybody happy. Yeah,
there's people in the audience. Show us your hits.
yeah, yeah. I like that. I was trying to find some video, but I don't think it exists anywhere online. I think they only played it once, but on the Family Values tour, the first one in '98 with Korn and Limp Bizkit and Rammstein, Korn played "Talk Dirty to Me," but I have never heard it
Well,
or seen it. Did you?
I did not, but I saw Weezer play it.
Oh wow,
Jonathan came backstage somewhere. That was a while ago, and he was super cool
yeah,
from Corn.
right
Yeah.
on. Very cool.
And so and I know Ray Luzier now,
Sure. Oh yeah.
fellow Pennsylvania boy,
Yeah.
just a monster drummer.
Yeah. Hey, I grew up in Pennsylvania too. Did you ever go to Harrisburg Heat games by chance? I used to go to those.
No, I never went to one of those games. I feel embarrassed,
Well,
but
that might be the era though after you've already taken off, I think. I think that
yeah.
was late. I mean, you guys are already pretty well established at that point. And that's kind of a smaller thing to pop into.
Are you from Harrisburg?
No, I'm from actually the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area.
Oh, okay. All
So
right,
not too
cool
far,
region
but
boy.
spent some time down there. I
Yeah.
I did see you.
Good.
What's that?
Oh, it's a good mafia dumping ground, by the
Yeah. Oh, for
way.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Find a body in a suit in the middle of the woods. Like, where did this come
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
That's what I've
I
heard.
did see you guys there in Pennsylvania though one time, and had to have been 2000. And I felt bad. I was working for the radio station at the time, and I showed up and I was wearing a Godsmack shirt, and they said, "Hey, do you want to go backstage and meet Poison real quick?" I go, "Oh my God, I would love to." You guys gave me a little bit of shit for wearing a Godsmack shirt. You kept calling me Godsmack, not in a bad way, like joking around, kind of having
Yeah,
some
I
fun and
would
poking some fun.
because Shannon's a friend of mine. No, I love that band.
I know.
So maybe I don't know why we did that. Maybe just So
No,
hopefully,
it wasn't a put down or even calling me out on. It was just more of like a fun thing. Like then you've got
right,
something visual you can call me. Does that make sense?
right, yeah, yeah.
It
It's
wasn't a put down.
you
But
ask somebody where they're from, and they'll say like, I don't know, but
Poughkeepsie,
Missouri. Hey,
yeah,
Missouri, come over
yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's that kind of thing, I
But
think.
every band in that sense, every band goes through different changes of popularity of music. Everybody has to go through it. You know, Led Zeppelin and AC/DC, they all have
Mhm.
to weather that storm as these things change. So what
Yeah.
was it like with your band and your style of music with Poison? How were those discussions, or how does that affect you when you're inside a nucleus of a band?
In what period in time?
I guess all of it because it's always
Yeah.
changing. So there's a
Sure.
resurgence now of what Poison does. It's, I
Right.
think, bigger than ever, but it ebbs and flows. You know, grunge gets big, and then now that goes away, and now rap rock or new rock people make fun of. And so they call it butt rock, and so it goes back and forth. It changes a lot, and you guys are on your
Yeah.
own little island, as every band like Weezer or McCartney is. They play their own style and they weather these storms. So being
Well,
in a band, how does that seem on the inside of the industry? I guess my question is.
it's like I've always said, yeah, or recently I said I should moreover, is that if I had my druthers, this would be the Poison 40th anniversary tour, but also call it Poison versus the World 40th anniversary. Because for 40 years we've been the underdog. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think it honestly helps us. People love to root for the underdog, and it keeps it fresh in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And we've never been the industry darlings. And I kind of wear that with a badge of honor. Honestly, I do. So, I have no desire to change course because of what's happening in music. What are we going to do? Like suddenly sound like Olivia Rodrigo? I mean, I mean, it's
Yeah.
or Chaperone,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But that'd be an interesting cover, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Hot to go.
Yeah.
But no, so I mean, sure, you pay attention to it.
Hmm.
You have your ear to the ground. You shouldn't be oblivious to what's going on. But if you have to completely sell out to change, everyone's going to see that. It doesn't work.
Hmm.
When the grunge thing happened, I watched a lot of our contemporaries. All of a sudden, they changed the way they dressed, they changed the way they sounded, what they were saying in interviews and everything. It's like, dude, nobody's buying it, and it
No.
didn't work. Didn't work for any of them, not
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
yeah.
and
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, D. Snyder can't be anybody other than D. Snyder, but he's aged and progressed and he looks current. He's not exactly the same D. Snyder, but he's
sure,
still
you
D. And
evolve.
he's like, I'm D, and like poison's poison. Yeah.
Evolving is one thing, but making a left from a right, that's a whole different thing.
Can I ask you about bikes real quick? I'm a motorcycle fan myself. I've got a couple. I love to ride. I know you do as well. And I know that you've ridden some electric bikes. I've ridden two of them, and it changed my whole world on what's possible, what's fun, and what's considered a motorcycle. Where are you on the electric game? I know you've had some experience trying them out.
I like it for off-road, for dirt bikes,
Yeah.
like my son has a Suron. I have another one. I have a Serpent. My daughter has a Suron. So instead of going out with our KTMs or Hondas, we just take the electric bikes, and the charge is good for the day, and it's so much less maintenance. But, for electric bike, for me to replace, my Triumphs or, my Harley or my Norton, it's not the same for me. For one thing, I live kind of out in the boonies, so every time I ride, I'm pretty far out. I would get some serious anxiety about getting home. Electric bikes just aren't there for the distance yet.
Oh, I see.
And when that changes, then I'll look at that again. But right now, I'm not really looking at electric bikes as a viable transportation option for me. If I just drive to the bike shed in downtown LA from where I live, I wouldn't make it back on a live wire, let's say,
Sure. Yeah.
And I think the live wires are cool. I think they're if I was just went to a job that was 15 miles away or something like that, I'd be riding every day.
Hmm.
Uh, but It's just not I love the instant on feeling of them, you know. You just nail that throttle and boom, you're gone, you know. But there's a certain thing about the, you know, the gas and the oil and the smoke and the sound and all that stuff that me as a boomer, it's hard for me to just let that go. It just is. I would be honest with you. It's kind of old school, but
Yeah,
that's
I've
how
only
I
done the
feel.
Suron dirt bike, but I'd love to add one to the collection. But I haven't done the road bikes. But I'm with you. I kind of want both. I want an option to do that quick little ride in the woods. So tell me
Yeah.
about the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. I'm familiar with what it is. Do you have an idea of what you're going to wear and what you're going to ride?
I don't know what I'm going to wear, but I always, you know, you dress up,
Yeah.
you dress dapper for one day. Um, Being a city co-host, every time we're seen, we kind of dress a little dapper because, you know, they kind of look at us and go, oh, yeah, that's one of the Distinguished Gentleman Ride guys. And so we're kind of like planning that ride all year, trying to constantly drum up interest in that
Hmm.
because it's such a big deal every year. I mean, it's in 300 and some odd cities now.
Hmm.
Um, and I forget how many countries, 118 countries or something. So it's wild. I mean, to imagine that that ride is happening in each city pretty much at the same time. I mean, barring time changes all over the world. It's just really wild,
Yeah.
really wild.
What are you gonna ride in it? What do you usually pick? Do you go for something more classic looking?
Yeah, I'll put this year. I'm going to take my Triumph Scrambler.
Yeah.
So I put that up, and that way, if my daughter wants to ride with me, she can ride with me.
That's very cool. So we've got Rockett Mafia. When can we see slash hear more or a tour? What's that looking like for the future for Rockett Mafia?
Well, we're not going to tour, but we're doing a bunch of fly-in dates all over the country, and we keep adding stuff pretty much every day.
Mhm.
So we are going to get together and start writing some original material too, just because we want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we get along and we're having a good time with it. So, you know, I think I Love You as a remake was kind of like a trial run for what would that be like if we wrote something because we had to it was almost like rewriting us. We had to rewrite the song to make it work. That song, you don't just copy what those artists did. I'm not going to play what Hal Blaine played on that song. We're taking it to a hard rock level, so it required some surgery to make it work.
That was my first thought because I remembered more of I always got like a big circus feel for the drums for I Love You. It's kind of like an oompa feel, like more like a polka in a way. And I was like, wait, when you guys did your version, I was like, wait, is that how it goes? I had to stop a couple times and go
Yeah,
to the original because I was like, oh wait, yeah, it's exactly the same. It's just so much of a different style that it wasn't like right away an exact copy.
yeah, no. So I added some toms and everything like that to try to fill it in, but keep the kind of groove going. And you know, we wanted to maintain the charm of the song.
Yeah,
You know, but I didn't want the drums to get in the way. It's tempting, you know, since this is my band, it's easy. You know, the guys don't want to tell me, hey, bring it down, you know, you're playing overplaying. They don't really want to say that. I got to be my own monitor for that.
sure.
You know what I mean? So,
Well, I think I love you. You can check out the song online. It's Rockett Mafia, Rikki Rockett, Poison 2026. Hey, a pleasure to talk to you, man. One more thing. I forgot one time I saw you guys and I forgot my earplugs. My left ear rang for like 2 days. So I was like, I
oh,
almost went deaf from a Poison show. So
oh man. Well, hey, pop them out and come out to another one. We'll see if we can take the right one out.
I appreciate it, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you.